Well, hello, you guys. This is Madam Mark, and I'm here doing a video on things that are used interchangeably, right? And I think I'm going to do like 3 or 4 parts to this because there seems to be a state of confusion collectively worldwide, particularly in America, when it comes to manifesting. And I always tell you this too. If a spiritualist is claiming to be a manifestor, if a spiritualist is claiming to be manifesting or they have the ability to bring something into existence, you might want to ask them for a paper trail or some type of proof. Because a lot of people are out here manifesting allegedly, but they're not paying taxes. A lot of people are out here manifesting allegedly, but they're not really paying their debt off to society that they've inquired, right? Or incurred. And so either way, going into this, right, I'm going to talk about some definitions of things that are new age and old age. Now, y'all, we're going to say this, old age, new age, in a sense of new age, meaning that this is made up shit. Like people watch Hollywood movies, they come up with Hollywood definition, they talk about things. And I'm really going to try to keep this short, right? Second part, it's going to be a little different. But anyway, and I'm going to share some things too with that. So either way, going into quantum jumping, right? Quantum jumping, right, also known as quantum leaping, is an abrupt transition of an electron, atom, or molecule from one quantum state to another with the absorption or emission of a quantum. So you are literally changing your energy. You're elevating your energy to a certain state of existence and you're manifesting in that state of existence, right? So even the idea of changing your mind, right? You used to be a negative thinker, but now you're thinking positive. That is a form of quantum jumping or quantum leaping, right? It is not you altering time because time itself is another type of energy and time cannot be altered, okay? Scientifically, physically, it cannot be. Sci-fi, it can. But like I said, a lot of people are using spirituality in there. They're connecting Hollywood definitions with their own term. Another word that was used by certain spiritual people are time warp. Now, Albert Einstein talked about this, right? But it's a time warp is the thought of anything that disrupts the flow of time by making it go faster or slower. So a realistic time warp situation would be you're daydreaming and you're like, where have time went? Right? You're sitting here, you know you have something to do at 5 o'clock, it's 3:30, you get caught up with doing your dish before you know it, it's already, the time that you needed it to be. That's time warp, right? You're in a state of like, you don't know what happened. You can't really have a recollection. You don't know where time went, but time was not altered, but you just don't know. And we know that time is a perception because it's an illusion, right? And so you have a perception. So you have the illusion that time has went by faster or slower, but in reality, you just got caught up in your current moment, your current energy, right? What is another one that they tend to use a lot? Timeline jumping. And like I said, we're going to make this into multiple parts because this is going to kind of go into something that's a little creepy for me because this relates to a presidential thing that happened, right, to one of the president candidates. And even going into somebody who was talking about time warp, time lapping, time this and that, and also the good stuff. It kind of relates to this, but y'all, they were saying it in a way as if this never happened before, and just so happened, they were confused about when it happened. So time jumping is the process that allows you to meet a version of yourself that experiencing the reality that you desire. This is also known as imagination. And as you know, if you're trying to manifest something that is outside of your norm, outside of something that you cannot comprehend or perceive right now, you're timeline jumping. So even calling out to the universe to bring you something into your modern day of time, it's timeline jumping, right? Manifesting something that you weren't supposed to manifest right now, you manifested it. That's timeline jumping. There's no jumping with time, altering time. Y'all, there's no way of doing that. Now, in other states of reality, like the astral realm, the spiritual realm, these terms may definitely be, right? These terms could definitely apply. But in a physical sense, which a lot of these people are talking about in a physical sense, in a mundane sense, none of these things are possible. This is Hollywood-based. This is sci-fi based. And even going to the sense of people talking about magic and manifesting a certain way and timeline jumping and quantum jumping. Show us the proof that you've timeline jumped in a physical reality, in the physical reality. Not the astral reality, because we know we can do certain things in the spiritual realm. We know that time tends to be altered anyway in a certain state of consciousness, like sleeping. We technically, when we sleep, we're frozen in time, and when we wake up, we're in the future. Technically speaking, okay? We're in some type of time capsule when we fall asleep. But in reality, time is still going on. We're just out of it. And like I said, this also goes into other conversations, like a video that I saw about portals, right? And I even want to talk about that too very lightly, right? So going into portals, right? Portals is a gateway, an entryway, access point to something or someone. So do you not know when you do your altars, you are creating a portal? Do you not know when you're connecting with your altars, or you're doing an altar and you're connecting with your ancestors, you're creating this altar for your ancestors to come into the physical realm from the spiritual realm, and things start to manifest in a physical realm. A lot of you may not know that. So the whole idea that portals are opening up, and even people are using portals interchangeably in a sense of, to put a portal in your house for money, or put a portal in your house for this, or to do this, that, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. You even have people who are under some type of mental illness acting like they open a portal, and there's energy coming through, and there's a light being shown, and blah, blah. And I'm just like, girl. Like, I saw a video years ago of a girl out there in the projects over there in Houston, I believe. And the lady was like, there's a portal opening up right in my house. And she had this video, and you could see some weird shit coming through. But I was like, that wasn't a portal manifesting, sweetie. That was some type of demonic manifestation. And there's some difference between a portal and a demonic manifestation, which of course we'll talk about in another video. But y'all, portals are open at all times. When you speak, you're opening up a portal. When you're thinking, you're opening up a portal, right? You're opening up your mind for entryways. Even going into doing readings, like I said, I don't do readings at people's home because I'm an entry point for spiritual energy to come through, and they may try to come and stay. I don't want that, okay? So I'm very okay with being on the phone with you, doing our thing, or doing a video call where I'm protected and guarded by my spirits. Anyway, so the next part, I'm going to go into something that's a little disturbing and very questionable. The idea that, y'all, that you are jumping time needs to be checked out by a mental professional, okay? Y'all, a lot of spiritual things could be considered mentally ill, because I do feel like there's a thin line between spirituality and psychosis, or being a psychic, or having a psychic experiences and having a psychotic breakdown. I do think there's a difference between that, or between those realities. And of course, people are going to say it's based on perception. But if you're going to call prayers, or if you're going to call spiritualists psychotic, or people who are claiming to speak to spirits and demons and all that good shit, then you talking to God is also psychotic. That is a little different. Versus somebody who's, once again, is alleged to walk through walls, who are alleging that they were driving down the street at night and they woke up on the other side of the road, flipped over and stuff. Like I say, y'all, come on now. Mental illnesses are at its high right now, and I really encourage people to seek some type of psychological help, okay? For a lot of things, y'all. Now, of course, going into my story, you may know me, you may not. But of course, with my experience, I do see a psychologist. I do see a therapist. I do see a counselor. Now, y'all, we might need to stay zoomed in for this part. Listen, y'all, what I think is so crazy is that Donald Trump he had multiple attempts to be assassinated, right? And I do feel like there's some type of organization behind this. And I will talk about that in a whole nother video. But the idea that there's something with Donald Trump being infatuated with John F. Kennedy. And of course, we're getting into a spiritual, all things are alleged to proven otherwise, okay? So I was doing my research, and I had to look up the Oswald guy who assassinated John F. Kennedy, who is also still a part of this organization, by the way, who I think also are the organization who sends people to try to assassinate Donald Trump. But Lee Harvard Oswald was trying to be Soviet. Like he was trying to get into the Soviet Union, become a citizen. It was rejected. He couldn't do it, right? He was obsessed with getting into Europe. And that's where this group extends from too, y'all, by the way. Okay, and I'm not going to get into that yet because, like I said, it gets to some real deep mob type stuff, right? And either way, but y'all, if you were to look up the dates of the Oswald guy attempting to assassinate John F. Kennedy, that comes to a 6, right? Oh, no, it does not come to a 6, but it comes to a 7. But the day that he was taken out by a guy named Jack Ruby, that is a 6. So it kind of negated, it kind of made it to where it needed to be because this group liked to work with 6s, 9s, and all that. Let's talk about it. Going into the 2 attempts that Donald Trump had on his life being assassinated, one in 2018, I believe, in Las Vegas. This guy was European based, or he was studying to be in Europe as well, very similar to the guy, the Lee Harvard Oswald guy, very similar to that. Or he was actually from Europe and he was here illegally on an illegal visa. And I believe that's the one. He was from Europe, British, and he was here. He extended his stay from California and he received a gun that he rented at a gun range. That comes to number 6, y'all. And then also going into the last attempt by the guy who's from Pennsylvania, you know, because there's one that happened in Florida too, but the one that happened in Pennsylvania was also a guy who was trying to go to Europe. So y'all, there is a lot going on, which I will talk about another time, but there's no time jumping, no time leaping when it comes to the realities of what we have experienced or what we have witnessed with Donald Trump and his whole election thing. It gets a little deep, y'all. It gets a little deep. It gets deep, y'all. Listen, we're going to save this for a midnight metanoia. We're going to actually talk about this on a midnight metanoia. We're going to go into context of who this organization is, who I feel like this energy is connected to. And y'all, I always tell y'all this. There's a lot. There's a lot of things that happen on the lower levels that affect the upper levels. And a lot of times people don't like to get their hands dirty in the upper levels. So the lower levels do the work. As we saw even with my little situation, my little people back in the day, which of course I'm going to go over that as well too. Because of course I'm not done with my people. See, the people that tried to drag me through the mud, tried to come for me, breed me down, do whatever the fuck they thought they were doing, I'm not done with them. And they know who they are. They've had enough time. They have an ample amount of time to do their thing. None of them reached out to apologize. None of them did a public apology. And that's fine. So now I'm going to do what I need to do to make things happen. Anyway, y'all, bye for now. Love and light, 2spiritmystic.blogspot.com, 28spirit8mystic@gmail.com. And you guys will see you in the next video. Okay? Bye for now.